Hello, I'm Michael Mann for BikeSocial and welcome to the Isle of Man, where over this bank holiday weekend at the end of August, it's the Festival of Motorcycling. Over the next 4 days, we're going to bring you all sorts of news and views and opinions from the racing that takes place here at the Classic TT. Stay with us. Joining me outside the holding area here down in pit lane is Chris Newble, BikeSocial's man from the racing paddocks. Steve Plater, 2 times a TT winner. Thanks for joining us. Steve, this is the 6th year, I think, of the Classic TT in its recent format. But why does it keep getting better and better?
You know, compared to the TT, it's a little more laid back, so it's a great kind of atmosphere on the island. Probably the older generation fit in well. But you know, some fantastic machines, 2 strokes, 4 strokes, plenty going on, and there's some very, very famous old riders.
Speaking of which, Chris, you've been up to some good stuff today.
Yeah, I caught up with John McGuinness earlier. It's so great to see him back in Ireland. He's on fantastic form. Should we see what he had to say? So when you think of the Isle of Man TT, you probably think of a certain 23-time TT winner. And after 15 months out of action, he's back racing this weekend at the Classic TT. John, it's so good to see you. How's it feel to be riding around this beautiful island again?
Yeah, it feels pretty special, to be fair. I mean, it was a little bit nerve-wracking to get back to some sort of being competitive on the track. I did a couple of cheeky laps at the TT on my Norton, which was terrifying the first lap, but the second lap was quite good. But this, you know, now it's down to business again with to try and put a great performance in on this 500 Classic race.
You look sensational on the bike. How's it feel to be, you know, on it again?
Yeah, it was like you say. Like last night we got tramming on a little bit in some parts of the circuit, but it was tricky last night. You know, it was a lot of wet patches and things. So, and it's not ideal, but I've raced it for a lot of years. I've been in that situation before where it can, and I sort of understand where the damp patches are. So I was steady away for the first lap. The second lap we had a bit of a go. We were fastest in class. We did 106 last night, which is quite good. A couple of accidents on the circuit, which hopefully those boys are going to be okay. I've had a lot of time to think about a lot of things while I've been injured, and we worked out we've done nearly 49,500 miles around the Isle of Man. So, you know, on a lot of machines, one of them's beside us here, the Triumph. So, you know, on different bikes, 2 strokes, 4 strokes. So you think you get bored of it, but I just didn't. It was just amazing to get out on that track, and you know, the Pattern's a lovely little bike. You know, I won that last time I raced it. I won that Bennetts 500cc race. I held a lap record on the bike. So, you know, slowly I'm just getting back into it, and super enjoying it.
There's something gone viral on social media last night of Rutter sort of giving you a kick before you even head out pit lane. What was all that about?
Me and Michael started racing together. You know, it's we were super teams in 1991, but he went a lot. He got a lot higher up the ladder than I did, quicker than I did, because he had a famous dad, so he got all the breaks. So, but we've always had a bit of banter and a bit of camaraderie between me and Michael, and we're only 2 days apart in age as well. So the Pattern was a bit quicker than him, so I stuck the elbow into his ribs and I just burned off and left him. But yeah, no, that's. I mean, you couldn't probably do that at the TT at all, you know. But it's a bit more laid back, and it's a bit of a giggle. I mean, me and Michael have been friends for years and years, so it was It's only a bit of crack.
No, it's great to see. You touched on it earlier. This is a bike you won on 2 years ago. Has the bike come on since then? Have you developed it in any way?
To be honest, no. The bike's pretty good, and they've done a little bit of modification with the fuel tank. They made the fuel tank a bit smaller than it was, so we didn't need to have it as big as we had it for the last race. But you know, you never stand still with bikes. You know, classic bikes is. I know with the modern bikes, we're changing this, changing that, changing the other. Some of these old boys don't like to change things, so. But we've changed the bodywork, made it slightly wider and a little bit more comfortable, because they're quite cramped, these little bikes. So, and you know, after coming back from injury, I need to be a bit more comfortable and stuff. So, but we've just, yeah, a bit of a higher seat, simple little things, but that's all you need on this track, on the Isle of Man track, is a couple of little simple improvements, and bike feels great.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck this weekend. I can't wait to see you back out there.
Thank you.
And yeah, all the best.
Cheers, thanks.
I'm here with Jamie Cower's record-breaking 2017 Manx Norton. To find out a little bit more about these Manx Nortons, I went to the National Motorcycle Museum in Birmingham to speak to the experts. Yes, I'm here with James Hewing, Museum Director, TT fan and Manx Norton expert. Now these single-cylinder 500s were dominant kind of post-Second World War. Why were they so good?
The engines themselves really weren't that unusual or innovative. Overhead cam, single cylinder, 350 and 500. So not an unusual design, nothing that special, but they were very well executed. So magnesium crankcases, magnesium rocker box, so obviously made them nice and light, but very well engineered.
Part of this package from 1950 was a featherbed frame. It's been copied by various people since. Everybody wanted one. What was so great about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is what made the bike as a package so special. All butt welded construction, no head heavy forging, very light, and of course what it did, it carried its weight very low down. It helped the handling, short wheelbase, so as an overall package, made for the perfect race bike.
Now last year's Senior Classic TT saw Jamie Coward achieve a new lap record for a single cylinder around a TT course, 110 miles per hour. Now those lap times weren't really achievable, you know, back in the late 40s, 50s. Now is that down to new engineering capabilities, fuel, oil, riders or course conditions?
It's a combination of things that have made those lap times possible. Modern engineering tolerances, electronic ignitions, the course has got faster, progressively faster with the surface, etc. One huge thing though has been tyres. Our tyre technology has improved over the years. That one single factor has probably influenced it more than anything.
Makes you realise how brave and admirable the Manx Norton riders were from that era. You know, quite often their races were almost 3 hours long. A massive test for man and machine, especially, you know, you're talking reliability-wise, 70 years ago.
For the lap times that they achieved, those average lap times, amazing really. The lap times haven't come on that much. But of course, back then in the day, they were also racing in the wet. So they were racing with those old tyres. In the wet, the races didn't stop. And so if you think they were pretty brave men, those guys, yeah.
Very brave, just a tiny little helmet, a set of goggles. James, thanks for having a chat. Let's get back to the paddock and see what the boys are doing.
Steve, great insight on the Nortons there, and they're going to be one of the bikes to beat in tomorrow's Senior Classic TT, the 4-lapper. But you boys have been roaming around the paddock, talking to some riders. What have they got to say?
Yeah, I managed to catch up with Maria. She managed to get a few laps under her belt last night on the pattern, and she's really looking forward to the race weekend now. She can't wait to get going.
I called up with James Hiller in typical laid-back Hillier fashion. Wasn't really bothered about anything, but this is what he had to say. James, good to see you wandering around in the sunshine here, but it hasn't been quite the same all week.
No, it seems to be sunny when the tracks open, and every time they close the roads, the clouds come in, it starts raining. So we just got to ride with it and take what we get, and it's looking a little bit better for tonight, Friday's practice, and you know, I think everyone's frustrated now, but not a lot we can do. You just got to get what we can, and you know, it's an advantage in a way because we're not wearing the old bikes out. That's one good thing. You know, do too many laps, you reduce the chance of getting the 4-lap race done. So it's still enjoyable, with good bikes to look at, and you know, I'm enjoying it. You know,
First race tomorrow, the Senior Classic TT. You're riding the 500. You know, you had exceptional weather for the TT this year. A little bit different now, but it's got to be good fun to go and ride a machine round. Not quite a hectic pace like you are on your ZX10.
Yeah, you still got to hold on tight in some places because they haven't quite got the chassis and the suspension of the modern stuff. But you know, it's enjoyable and nice riding something a little slower. Just fingers crossed, you know, for all the fans that have come over. I just hope tomorrow works out and we all get a bit of racing in, and 4 laps would be nice. It's always it's more of an endurance on the old bikes, just trying to nurse the thing to the end. So hopefully we'll be there somewhere.
I'm not sure whether you're talking it up or talking it down.
Well, I don't know. I got the bike. The owner of the bike's probably watching, but it's you know, I enjoy it. It's a team effort. We've on the 500 tomorrow. We've finished once in 5 years, so
Hopefully tomorrow we can make it 2 finishes out of 7 and try. I don't know. That's all you can do. If luck's on your side, you'll be there, and you know, anything can happen. Finishing is key, I think, in this old bike racing round here.
Enjoy it, mate.
Thank you.
Dean, obviously Gary Thompson's just been on the radio there saying there's quite a few damp patches. You know, what are you looking to achieve tonight?
Laps, to be honest, just to get, if we can get a lap on the big bike here, then I want to get back and get on the 250, to be honest, because I've only done 7 mile on the thing this week, and I've got a massive lack of experience on a 250 because I've never done one before. So if I can get back and get a couple of steady laps on that, and I'll be happy, to be honest. You
know, going back to that 250, what's it like to ride after riding the big bikes?
Well, in the 7 mile that I did, it were drastically different, to be honest. It were like not even it's when you shut the throttle, the thing almost gets faster. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no engine braking, so you've got to be so cautious in your braking and almost go down a gear more everywhere because the gear ratios are so close, and it's quite easy, I think, to catch you out. So I just need to give it a little bit of respect for the 2 laps and learn as much as I can.
Enjoy it, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Gary, we've got some sunshine, all systems go very shortly. Now, this machine you're riding here, it looks so flipping big and high, I don't know if I'll be able to get on it.
Well, maybe you couldn't, Steve. Not so bad being 6 foot and long-legged, so we've got a nice high seat to make the seat foot peg a bit further away. It's just nice to get out, really, a bit of sunshine. It's going to be damp out there, but see how she goes.
What are you looking at tonight, guys? Obviously, you haven't had a lot of track time, the same as everybody else, but what are you actually looking at tonight?
It'd be nice to just see how this new chassis works. There's a new gearbox in it, new clutch and quick shifter. There's quite a few updates, so check they're all working, check the bike handles. We're not going to get a lot more practice to get it set up, refined, but just enjoy it.
You know, of course, you're a TT winner, you have a lot of experience around this circuit, you know, but how frustrating is it so far?
Really frustrating. It doesn't matter how many times you've been around this place. When you come back for the next year, you need to learn it again, and you need to get your brain back up to speed, and that's something we haven't done yet. So without riding a different bike, no one's had any laps anyway, so we're all in the same boat, but a few people's had a few more. We just need to get some laps in.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate. Josh, difficult at the moment, you know, nobody's fault, but the weather hasn't been kind. Fortunately, you raced this machine last year.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I've had loads of laps at this year's proper TT, so I certainly should know where I'm going around the course. Rode this machine last year, so I'm familiar with the bike. There have been some improvements over the year, so it should be better this year, but we need to get down that track and see what it's really like.
I'm lucky enough to have ridden one of these just on a parade around here, not an angle like you guys, but quite a fast machine from that era and pretty good against the 750s.
Yeah, to me it feels very much like a 600. Like modern day 600 makes about 130 horsepower, and this is putting out about 130 horsepower, so it's very, very comparable for me, but obviously the power delivery is slightly different. You know, it's actually makes power quite early on and very linear all the way through, so yeah, it's nice to ride. It's certainly, its sound is a lot different to other bikes I've ridden, so yeah, it's just good fun. I'm glad. It's good to see, you know, all the fans around the track enjoy when the bike comes along and they can hear it well before it comes into sight.
Enjoy the sunshine, mate.
I will.
Jamie, you got to be peaking. Obviously, a lap record last year on the Norton. We've been talking about that an awful lot, but on the 750 tonight as well, bit of practice.
Yeah, we've done nothing so far, you know, so it's going to be a bit of an eye-opener tonight. I've only done 2 laps on the Norton and on the K4, so we'll just suck it and see what happens.
You know, which do you prefer? The old classic, the single cylinders, or, you know, are they much easier, or do you prefer the big 4-cylinder superbike?
The classics are just a lot easier to ride around here, you know, just they don't take much manhandling. Obviously there's a bit more technique to it, but compared to these big things, you know, it's just a lot easier, you know yourself, like, so.
So your lap record was easy, is that what you're saying?
It wasn't easy, no, but I think it'd be tougher to beat it this year, you know, because we had no time and no practice, you know, so yeah, we'll just see what happens.
Hey, have a good one, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers.
Chaps, it's Friday evening. We've just had another practice session on the course. There's been some damp conditions with a heavy downpour this afternoon. Thankfully, the sun and the wind have dried out nicely. There's still been a few damp patches around to worry some of the riders, but equally, they must be pleased they've got some laps in finally.
Finally, yeah, you know, it's all positive now. People will be kind of forgetting about the damp conditions. There were sort of half a dozen bikes went out on full slicks, so it couldn't have been too bad out there on track, but, you know, they'll be putting that to bed and moving on to tomorrow's game.
With the Superbikes and the lightweights out first, I've got the times in front of me. Superbike class, the Kawasaki's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Harrison fastest at 1:21.5. Still a fair way off Vance's record, but it's a good pace.
Yeah, first time round really. You know, most of these guys haven't really done very many laps at all, if any. So in all fairness, with a few damp conditions, it's a good pace to be at, and they'll build from that.
Yeah. Horse Saiger he came in second, 19.5, so he was a couple of miles an hour off of Dean Harrison. And a shout out to Connor Cummins. He got 3 laps in on the Yamaha. So he must be pleased, Chris, with how he got on with that.
Yeah, I think Connor's just happy to tick off the laps. He's been eager to get out on that bike, and he's finally done it now. So yeah, he'll be chuffed and be looking forward to the rest of the weekend.
Busy day tomorrow.
Long old day, you know, roll call early in the morning. Of course, action starts sort of just after mid-morning. Practice, races. So, you know, it's going to be a tough day, not just for us, but of course all the riders, but the marshals as well.
Yeah, must be great for the spectators though.
Oh, nice to get some action.
Fab, join us tomorrow for all the action and reporting from Saturday's racing.